We've been increasingly worried this year about the price of diesel at the bowser right across Australia, and our analysis has shown why. The gap between the wholesale and the retail price, or the profit margin, for want of a better term, is, as you said, it's around 20 cents a litre, which is almost double what it was last year. And alarmingly, it really only started to balloon out as of March, when the coronavirus crisis hit. Now, this is important for a number of reasons. The first is diesel is a surprisingly popular fuel in Australia. About 40% of all the petrol sold at service stations to motorists like you and I is diesel. You have to combine all the other fuels to make up the other 60%. But also, and this is really important, it's the fuel that our economy runs on. About 30 billion litres of diesel is sold in Australia every year, and about 20 billion of it is used for commercial reasons: farming, agriculture, mining, manufacturing. And so when you are paying more for diesel than you should be, it's going to have a flow-on effect in the economy at a time when we can afford it the least.
So is it sort of bucking the trend? I mean, we generally always talk about unleaded, don't we, Peter? I mean, diesel doesn't get the kind of attention that unleaded usually gets. So is it sort of going the other way while unleaded seems to be coming down? And why would that be?
Yeah, it doesn't get the attention. One of the reasons why is that you don't have the price cycles for diesel that you have for unleaded. So you don't see the volatility in prices with diesel. Diesel prices tend to stay largely the same, and if they fall very slowly. And so, most of the diesel is bought on contract here because it's used for commercial and industrial reasons. But it is still a very popular fuel at the bowser for families, for small businesses delivering goods and services. And what we've noticed this time in particular is that while the profit margins on diesel are normally about anywhere between 10 and 13 cents a litre when you go back over the last few years, they have really ballooned this year. And I think most people would argue 10 or 13 cents a litre profit on a litre of diesel is probably enough, let alone the 20 that we're now currently paying.
So what do you expect it to happen here?
Well, you could cut the average price of diesel by 10 cents a litre today and not notice the difference in terms of how these oil companies run their businesses, looking back at the margins over the last 5 years. So what we want to see here are these diesel prices come down. They have not fallen enough. The average price in Sydney today is $1.15. It's the cheapest of all the capitals by far, and that's too expensive. The wholesale price is well below $1. And in regional areas in particular, I mean, the prices in the capitals are bad, but once you start to go out to regional areas where diesel is even more popular and used even more frequently, those prices start to go up to the $1.20s, the $1.30 mark on average, and even higher. So we want to see these prices come down. The country can't afford to be paying more for diesel than it needs to in this crisis.
Where are we at when it comes to unleaded at the moment, Peter? I mean, I've driven past a few petrol stations over the past week or so. I've noticed, those lows that we saw recently of about 90 cents a litre. It's hard to find those now. It's at around about $1.20, so it's jacked up pretty quickly now that everyone's kind of returning to work.
Yeah, it took 2 months to fall and 4 days to go back up again. That's what we saw. That's what we've seen over the last cycle and a half. So you're right, a lot higher. Prices didn't even get as low as they should have. They should have fallen well below 90 cents a litre on average in most of the capitals, and in all bar, I think Adelaide and Perth, they didn't get close. So they didn't fall as far as they should have. They took way too long to fall, and then when they went up very, very quickly, unfortunately. And in those capital cities, the prices need to start coming down again. We're expecting them to start to fall in most of them because they've already hit their peaks because they went up so quickly. So hopefully those prices that we were seeing before, below a litre, an average of $1 a litre, they should come back. But hopefully it won't take as slow as the last cycle.